welcome back to the Elyse DeLucci Show. I am Elyse, your host, and we're in my living room on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Today's episode 25. Can't believe it. Today we're talking about coronavirus making everybody socially awkward, okay? Anal bleaching, Christmas lights, my favorite diners in Manhattan. Diners you should know if you ever come here because, who wants fancy restaurant recommendations all the time, So anyway, take a sip of your drink, your peach schnapps, your coffee, whatever you're having, and talk to me, Elyse. Fact of the day. The history of the Christmas tree. Do you know where this came from? Prince Albert of Germany, back in the 1800s, he brought his wife a Christmas tree. Basically a giant bush, which we now know to be the tree. But Prince Albert of Germany brought his wife, the Queen Victoria of England, a bush, okay? And a newspaper, the Illustrated London News, put a picture of this tree that he presented his wife in 1848. It went viral, or what we know as viral. And that's it. In walks the Christmas tree. From then on in, everybody had a Christmas tree. Just another guy not buying his wife diamonds for the holidays. Isn't that funny? I'd like to think that the Christmas tree has a little bit more symbolism than some guy buying a giant green bush for his wife around the holiday time and shoving it in the living room and be like, yeah, honey, I brought you a gift. But that's how the story goes, I guess. I didn't know that, did you? So, how are you? Did you have a good weekend? I was busy this weekend. Now it's real crunch time right now from now till Christmas. I took my kids on Saturday night to go see the Christmas lights in Dyker Heights. Do you know about these? If you don't know, you can Google Brooklyn Christmas lights or Brooklyn Dyker Heights Christmas lights and you'll see pictures. I did a TikTok on them. But Dyker Heights is this neighborhood in Brooklyn. It's a notoriously Italian neighborhood. A lot of mobbed up people there, And there's a few blocks that have these just giant, brick and limestone monstrosity houses. I love them, okay? And and every year around Christmas time, the Italian people that live in these houses, they just put up the most insane, ostentatious, outdoing their neighbor Christmas lights. And everybody goes. And when I was growing up, people would just go see these lights. It was just like a thing people did. Now, it's like a whole spectacle. Like, usually it would take you, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes to drive down the block, see the lights, whatever. There's other cars there. Some people are walking. Some people have their kids in pajamas, a little cup of hot chocolate, doing a little cute Christmas thing. Well, this year, it took me an hour and 20 minutes. An hour and 20 minutes to drive through to see these Christmas lights. I mean, but what kind of idiot am I? I go on a Saturday night at 8 p.m. to go do this. I thought it would be a fun night out, and it was. But if you're going to ever go, if you're in the neighborhood or if you, whatever, go on a Monday or a Tuesday. Do yourself, at like 9, 10 o'clock, do yourself a favor. Or go at like 4, just when it starts to get dark. Saturday at 8 p.m. was not a smart time, but it was so cool. I mean, the lights are just so over the top. I mean, just the most craziest things like you would never even think to do. And it made me think, like, when I was growing up, like, my parents, like, they put the Christmas tree in the window. Maybe they strung some lights on a bush, and put some lights in the windows, Maybe they had some, like, singing, angels or something, statues, little porcelain things, I don't know, like, in the window, try, make it nice. But and maybe the neighbors, the husbands, maybe they wanted to get on the roof, and line the lights. But like a 40-foot, limestone statue of a wooden soldier, or like, I don't know, 60-foot, LED lit up things that say joy and rejoice. No, nobody thought of that. I don't even know if that stuff was available. But I love it. And, it's funny because, sometimes, like, your own culture, like, does things so differently. And when you're younger, you maybe would be embarrassed or shy when you realize that's not sort of the norm, But I loved it. I love seeing it. And I'm just like, I love these people. I don't even know you, but I love you. I just feel like they do. And it's not, the thing is, this is the thing. I have some friends of friends that know some of the people that live on the block. It's like they don't do it because they're trying to one-up the neighbor. They do it for the kids. They do it because they think it's just a nice, happy time. Why not spend, $3,000 on an electric bill for the month of December and do it up big? Go big or go home. That's pretty much, how the Italians are. But I love it. But, it also made me think is that these people, they're planning this stuff for months. I mean, because they have whole, winter wonderland, landscapes. They everything is well orchestrated. The men, the soldiers in front of the door, and then the deer on the grass with the gigantic Santa and the globes on the roof and the sign. They must really architect this out for months in advance. And some of the houses did have the signs in the front. It was like Christmas decor by Russo. But that's beyond me, paying for somebody to come and decorate for Christmas. But it does make sense if you have the money, right? Because what are you going to do? Are you going to really go, to some store and buy, 60-foot Santas and garage them for, the once-a-year debut? It's better to rent, But I love it. I totally, totally love it. I recommend if you don't go. It makes me just think how crazy Italian people are. I also went to go stop by and see my grandmother. She lives in Bay Ridge. She's 90. I took my daughters there. That was cute. Saturday night, visiting their great grandmother on a Saturday night at 6:37 p.m. That's big news. That's big news to my kids because their bedtime is usually 7:00. Well, that's what they say. Mommy, bedtime is 7:00. It's like, yes, darling, it is. But so we splashed out a little bit. Went on a wild night adventure to Brooklyn. My youngest daughter turns 5 next week. I can't believe that. You have kids? Honestly. And if you do, everyone told us, right, that the time goes by fast. Everybody, right? Like, how annoying when you're pregnant. Be like, enjoy it. It goes by so fast. And, of course it does. It really does. But, when you're actually doing it, when you have a baby that's 6 months, when you have a baby that's 1.5, people enjoy it. You're like, really? I just want to get, a nap in. I'm just looking to, eat an actual meal in a restaurant other than, drinking leftover breast milk and eating baby food out of the jar. They say enjoy it, but you just, it's like you're in a haze. You're in a haze. But I can honestly say, now that my youngest is turning 5, I really can't believe it. I'm really where did the time go? It's the days are long, but the overall time, it just flies by. The sad thing though is what am I gonna do with this girl? I can't have a party for her, my girlfriend Stephanie, hi, if you're listening, she had a birthday party for her daughter in Staten Island, her daughter Juliana. I think they had it at a gymnastics place because they're doing parties. They were doing parties in Staten Island. I don't know about now because, now they closed indoor dining and stuff in New York City again. But there's no places that are doing kids' birthday parties. So, so what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to have, make a pizza and bake a birthday cake. What else? And, obviously have presents. More than normal. More presents than normal. She's really into Barbies and Barbie clothes. So I went to, I found some, good stuff at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, But, she says to me, Mommy, I'd like a Father Christmas themed birthday. So I'm like, sure, darling. So I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought, even though my house is very decorated for Christmas, I went to the Dollar Tree and I just bought really obnoxious, streams of tinsel and stuff. And I'm just going to hang it all over the place and, in the kitchen area. And then when she comes in, it'll be a little, crazy Christmas, Christmas threw up in the kitchen, basically. I was going to say Wonderland, but, it's not a Wonderland when the whole place is going to be covered in tinsel. But, that's what we're going to do. There's nothing else really to do, I could have if I guess I really wanted. I did say, actually, that's what I'm saying. I did text my girlfriends a month ago and I said, hey, would you be up for having, just you, meaning my girlfriend and one of their kids come over? And I was just going to have 3 friends and their child, 1 child per family, come over for some pizza and cake. And everybody was And I was just sort of taking the temperature. I didn't even know if I was okay with it, but I just asked. And they were like, oh, yeah, let's see how everybody feels and whatever. But then someone in one of their families got, the virus and then, I guess it spooked her, which I totally get. My sister wound up getting corona. She has it. Hi, Gab. And so, I mean, that idea went out the window. And I don't even know if it was a sound idea to invite people over. It's not like I have a backyard or anything. Obviously I'm in an apartment. So my poor little doll will just have to have her Christmas party. Just us, pizza and cake and prezzies. Can't wait for this thing to be over, Anyway. Why is everybody doing anal bleaching? Do you know about this? Are you hearing about this? Okay, literally, my girlfriend's like, Elyse, I need to get my asshole bleached. And I'm like, what? First of all, I'm assuming she wants to do this because of anal sex. Okay, and here's the thing. I don't like the word anal. I just don't. I don't even like anal retentive. I just don't like the word. It just sounds creepy to me. I just don't like anal, and it's all the way I say it's all nasally, But and then I don't like the word butthole because that's just disgusting. I don't like the word asshole because that also just feels like I'm calling somebody a name. I'm just uncomfortable with the whole thing. The naming conventions, I should say, but so she's like, I need to get anal bleaching done. You have any recommendations? And I'm like, what am I, Jenna Jameson here? What am I, the Jenna Jameson, the Upper East Side? No, I do not have anal bleaching recommendations for you. I'll phone phone a friend. But it's like, I said that, I was like, what, by the way, you want anal bleaching? What is this, the Vajazzle of 2020? Do you remember Vajazzle, 10 years ago? It was everybody was getting a vajazzle done, and if you don't know, if you slept through that one, it was women will get in their vagina all jeweled up, Swarovski crystals, or putting glitter, on them, on their nether regions, basically making shapes and stuff. I don't even know what the sticky things. I don't know. I didn't do it. But I said, is this the vajazzle of 2020 anal bleaching? And she's like, Elyse, the skin near your butt is 80 times darker than your regular pigment for most people. And I was like, thanks for the tip. But so she's telling me, she's going through all of her options, right? That she heard. And she's like, which one should I do? And I don't know if you have these conversations with your friends. I don't even know if you maybe you do this, maybe you like it. But the thing is so here's the thing, okay? She looked into at-home bleaching, but the thing, and what you would do is you would use a skin lightening product. She told me, but the chemicals in it, first of all, I think some of them are considered carcinogenic. We looked them up online. But the other thing is that you're doing a DIY affair. You're doing the Pinterest of anal bleaching. Really? So if you put that product on the wrong way. Basically what we found out is that you're going to get some of this bleach and these things with these, terrible chemicals in it in your ass. And then it's going to go in your bloodstream. And it's not then you're dead. It's just then you might have problems. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which I just had said, even though I don't know about anal bleaching, was doesn't this shit burn? I get laser, but when I used to bleach my mustache, because I don't know about you, but for the younger half of my life, I was very into Sally Hansen above the lip bleach. That's what happens when you have the Mediterranean roots, So when I would put the bleach on, and because I was so out of control, I was like, I'm gonna leave it on longer because then maybe my hair up there will go away. Of course, it just made it glow. I had day glow mustache hair. People be like, why is your mustache white? But you leave it on for a long time, that Sally Hansen mustache bleach, and your lip is burning. So I said, you're going to put this shit on your asshole? Don't you think it's going to burn and itch and sting during the whole, shebang? And what I said to her, let's talk about this for a second. you don't think I'm doing this for you, do you? Because that would never happen. Like, I just want to be 100% clear, okay? Some people have great friends that do them great favors. Stephanie, if you're listening, I'm actually, if you're not listening, I'm going to call you after this airs, and I'm going to say, go listen to this, because I have a story. I'm going to tell, I didn't even think I was telling the story, but I'm going to tell you too. About, like, I don't know how long ago, Stephanie, what was this, 15 years ago? Me and Stephanie and the guys we were with at the time, we were going on a ski trip, and we were at Hunter Mountain in upstate in New York. I think that's like the Catskills. And I had gotten waxed like a few days before this trip, right? And at the time, I knew, of course, that my skin was very sensitive, but, I was like, oh, I'm going away. Like, let me do waxing, whatever. And I did it, and I got the worst rash everywhere. Like, when I say I'm talking about, like, horrific, like, I don't even know. Like, it looked like I had, like, mumps all over my body. It looked like I broke out. I don't even know what it was. It was just the most insane allergic reaction to the wax. And, of course I'm trying to cancel the trip because I'm horrified. And besides, it was uncomfortable. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to put on, like, a snowsuit, a ski pants or whatever. I could barely walk. So, anyway, we get to the thing. And Stephanie's like, just show it to me. Just let me, how bad could this be? Just show it to me. And I do not do the bald eagle. I'm just not into that. I just don't. I feel like it's not for me. I like a little bit of something down there, But then I think at that time I did do the bald eagle, because I guess that was because it was probably prescient. Svetlana, when I was doing it, was like, you must go bald. So so I did, and then I was horrified. So anyway, I would go in the bathroom and I show Stephanie. And she literally almost fainted. And she was like, oh, my God, what are you going to do? Like, there's no way you could even think about getting it on with your boyfriend, because, like, this is a horror. So she's like, hold on. Let me go get my Mac Studio fix. Now, this is a good friend, right? A good friend goes in her pocketbook, in her makeup case, and gets out her $30 Mac over-the-counter, whatever it is, counter makeup, like a studio concealer shit, and she starts putting it on the top of my, like, nether region. And I was just like, I'm crying, and she's like, so she's on her knees, dabbing this shit on. I'm up there crying like a Kathy comic strip cartoon, tears flying out of the corners of my eyes. And I'm like, what are you doing down there? Like, oh, is it getting better? And she's like, oh, no, this is horrible. Why would you do this? And I don't know. And the whole thing. And long story short, it probably looked worse, with the caked makeup on. But that was a horrible story. And here's the thing. So I told my friend. So that was that, Stephanie. I know. And I don't even know if I told the story the best way, but that was basically it. And that's a good friend, by the way. But my friend now that's talking about anal bleaching, I said, I'm not doing, like, I don't know if that was what you were thinking. Like, you want me to, like, help you out, but that's never going to happen. I said, like, because I spent, like, I have two daughters, I spent a long time wiping asses and changing diapers and doing that stuff. I'm not doing that again. The next time I'm doing that is if I am, I don't know, if I'm married and 80 and I have a husband that needs some assist, maybe. And even that, I will probably have a home health aide. But anyway, so I'm like, because how are you going to do it yourself? Like, let's talk about that. And here's the thing. For you listening, if you do it, let me know. Because, like, what do you do? Like, this is what I said to him. What do? You go in the bathroom, you get out your bleach, you mix it up, and then what? You got to, how do you put this on? What do you have to spread your cheeks apart, and then you have to put the bleach on, and then what do you have to walk? Do you have to, I mean, can you imagine? What do you have to walk around for 10 minutes, like holding your butt apart, like so this shit dries? Or wait, or no? Shall you just not hold it apart? Let the whole thing collapse, and then you're like one big bleaching, burning, horrible, sandy mess because that shit's gritty. Honestly, like, I just can't. Or you have a friend do it. So you know what I said to her? I think they must have a professional route to this, okay? So they do. And here's the thing. It's a fortune. I don't know how much it is, like the real prices, but she looked up and she found it was maybe like $100 to $150 per session. So, way cheaper than laser. But here's the thing I had no idea about. It only lasts. First of all, let me say, you have to get a bunch of treatments. You have to get 5 or 6 treatments. It only lasts, though, for 6 months. Can you imagine? So I said to her, you better be shooting the porno of your lifetime, okay? Because if you're going to spend $150 per anal bleaching treatment, you're going to do 6 every week or something? 1 a week for 6 weeks, and then it's only going to last 6 months? Get the hell out of here. I want nothing to do with that. I said, dark skin or light skin, I don't care if it matches or doesn't match. If you're into that kind of shit, listen to me. If you're into that, if your boyfriend is into that, your husband, he's not going to care what color your asshole is, okay? Nobody's going to care. Not you in the moment, not him. So get over yourself. So that's why I said, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're on the bunny ranch shooting the porn of a lifetime or something, because I don't know why else you would torture yourself like that. I understand above the lip bleaching. I understand Brazilian waxing. I understand things like, those surgeries that the labiaplasties. I mentioned it a few weeks ago, where you're getting your vagina trimmed down or something after you had a litter of kids. I even get that. I have not done that. But this to me just seems torturous. I mean, can you imagine, and by the way, and I'm done talking about this, but can you imagine, so say you get a little rash, whether from the professional or at home, and what are you doing? You're scratching, you scratching your ass all the time? Oh, hi, can't come into work, say, oh, why, are you okay? You have the virus? No, I bleached my asshole and I can't, it's itching me. I don't want to walk around the office scratching my ass. So, and then can you imagine going to the doctor? Well, what's wrong? What did you, well, I have a little minor skin infection. Oh, you do? Oh, acne? Rosacea? No. Eczema? No. You see, well, Dr. Green, I tried to do something a little risque and it didn't work out. I mean, this is the equivalent of, I don't know, masturbating with a cucumber and winding up in the ER. Just don't do it. Just my 2 cents. Anyway, so I was thinking about this coronavirus business as if as if nobody else is thinking about it. Or, it's all everybody talks about. Literally, you walk down the street in Manhattan, everybody's like, the virus, masks, hand sanitizer, when a restaurant's going to be, and it's all you hear. Overheard in New York, Corona time, it's all you hear is about Corona. But I ran into a friend a couple weeks ago on the street, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I just felt like I was so totally freaking awkward. Has this happened to you? Now, I did go back to work, in my office every other week. So I'm not totally isolated. I'm not totally isolated as I was. But it was I didn't know how to interact. But I will say, when I do go to my office, by the way, I sit in my office, door closed. There's no conversing. Any meetings I have are done on video conference. I don't even like that they have us back in the office. I think it's stupid, a waste of commuting money. And, and I bring my lunch. I mean, as I normally do. But, I mean, there's no communal anything open, fridge or kitchen. I just think it's the biggest waste. But anyway, I don't do face-to-face communication. Sometimes my boss pops his head in, hi. And then we have a little, 2 second of in-person banter. And it's 10 feet, 16 feet apart. But I haven't really sat down with friends, I haven't just ran into a friend or just had that stranger sort of interaction, acquaintance interaction, I should say. I have obviously seen some people, but those are people that I'm talked to or I'm with, all the time for the most part. So I ran into this friend, and I just felt like I was so goddamn awkward. It wasn't even like I didn't know what to say. I was like, hi, after I got over the hi. It was kind of like the normal, what normal times when you're like, oh, yeah, we'll get together. Oh, yeah, when you're free. And you're, making up fake dates. Oh, yeah, call me. That was what, the whole conversation was like. It was just so weird. And so I started thinking about it. And I was reading some things. And, it's a real thing. This is a real thing. If you are isolated for a long period of time. I didn't know this. If you're isolated for a long period of time, and you're cut off from other people, our brains interpret this as a mortal threat. Can you imagine? So, for example, what I learned is that if you feel isolated and you feel lonely, that's as much as a biological tell as if you're hungry or thirsty. I honestly never knew that. And isn't that funny? Because it's like, when you're hungry, you're like, I'm hungry, I need food. When you're thirsty, like, I'm so parched, and you get water and you're already okay. But when you're lonely, you don't really, or you're isolated, you don't really think like, you feel bad, you feel stuff, but you don't think that it's just as important, as drinking or eating. Obviously there's geriatric depression and that kind of stuff. I feel like some of the old people, if they're alone a lot on their own, whether living in their houses or in nursing homes and they don't see a lot of people, they get depressed. So, I do know that, but apparently for just a normal, young, healthy person, if you don't see people regularly, there's emotional and physiological effects that so many of us right now are dealing with. And I'm sure you are, So I thought it was just so weird. I really didn't know what to talk about when I saw my friend. I felt like I was like a little skittish, and yeah, it was weird. Has this happened to you? Like, I'm okay making small talk in the supermarket. I do that, But, yeah, the other thing, by the way, about what I read about this is that if you're hungry and you're hangry, you're angry because you're so goddamn hungry, you get irritable, annoyed. The same thing happens if you're lonely. So, like, the same things happen if you're hungry or you're tired or you're thirsty. Like, you'll get maybe irritable, you'll get angry, you'll get lethargic. The same exact things happen if you're lonely. And I literally, there was a big article about this in one of the newspapers, I think Wall Street Journal, The Times. And it was just saying human interaction is literally the same as like eating a balanced diet. We do not realize how much we benefit from casual people, acquaintance interactions, whether it's, you're in the office, you're, at the gym, you're, at the store. And I had no idea. And by the way, in this article, they also talked about how prisoners that are, in maximum security and they're isolated, they have no social interaction whatsoever. When these people get out or they have an opportunity to interact socially, they're usually hostile. They get into trouble or they're fighting, whatever. And that's not just because they are bad people, but, obviously they are if they're in prison, maximum security, whatever. But it's because they have been isolated. And I found that very interesting. But so we're all basically walking around. What I'm trying to say is we're all basically walking around like so socially awkward, beings right now. And it's terrible. It's terrible. I just told my boyfriend not too long ago, I feel like I'm becoming agoraphobic. He's like, what do you mean? I said, like, some days I'm okay not leaving my house for like a couple days at a time. Like literally not going anywhere. And like I said, I don't have a backyard or I don't have a front yard. Like if I want to get my mail, I either comes to my door or I go downstairs and get it. Some days I'm fine not leaving, and that's not healthy. Anyway, I didn't do a recipe, by the way, so I'm going to tell you right now. I usually do it closer towards. So obviously, I've been saying, from now until the holidays, I want to do just a holiday recipe or something like this. So what I am telling you is something right now, my favorite stuffed artichokes. Do you know these? The artichoke, obviously Italian vegetable, intimidating at the grocery store to say, but I love, love, love stuffed artichokes. I'm going to tell you how I make them. They are easier to make than they look. This is what you need. I'm just going to give you a recipe for 2. So you don't, because you have to practice with these things. You go to the store, you buy 2 artichokes, 2 globe artichokes. So you want the big ones, not the small ones. 2 big artichokes. So obviously you bring them home, right? And this is the recipe. 1 cup of breadcrumbs. I use Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. If you don't have that, that's fine, whatever. A half a cup of grated cheese, like grated Parmesan cheese. A handful of parsley, chopped fine. 2 cloves of garlic, also chopped fine. Olive oil, a little bit of water. White wine, maybe a cup of white wine or something. I usually have these little mini bottles all around in my pantry, but a cup of white wine. the juice of 1 lemon. If you don't have fresh, you could use bottled lemon juice. That's fine. And then just salt and pepper. So this is how you make them. The artichoke is intimidating. You can take your kitchen scissors, right, your kitchen shears, and you could go. First of all, you got to wash it, but just rinse it before you get into the washing part, because I'll tell you why. If you just rinse it, the water will just clean the outside, but the top of the artichokes they have like little spikes. They almost look like little nails. So you got to trim those off. You can take a kitchen shear and just trim each individual leaf. Or what you can do is what I've started to do in the last few years was I just take a big kitchen knife, I lay it on its side, and I just sort of chop, maybe like 1/6 of the top off. So I'm just hacking away all the top, the little nails or whatever. And then I'll go around with a scissor and trim the bottom, pieces of the artichoke. Anyway, so you trim the artichokes. And then after they're trimmed, then you really rinse them off. You peel, you pull the leaves open gently, like as if if you're holding the artichoke. If the artichoke is down on the countertop, you basically take your 2 hands. I'm doing it now, you can't see, but you make like a claw, like make your hands like a little bit of a claw. And you kind of want to take your 2 claws and like peel, like, stretch apart the tops of the artichoke. So, and then you want to rinse that, so clean it out. So, and once they're clean, turn them upside down, let them dry for a little bit. In the bowl, put all your ingredients together. Just dump them all together. Okay? But, let me say, only put about a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Don't put, don't go overboard with the olive oil. You basically want to make like a sand, with the breadcrumbs, the cheese, the parsley, whatever. That's what you do. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start stuffing the artichoke. So you're going to take a little bit of fingerful of the stuffing, and you're just going to put it in all the little pockets of the leaves all over. Make sure you get the center too. Get it down in the center, because that's the good part. After your artichokes are stuffed, and by the way, your artichokes at the bottom, if they have a stem, you got to trim the stem off so they could sit upright on their own. If they don't, if they don't sit upright, you're going to have problems. So make sure you trim the stem off. So after they're stuffed and they're sitting upright, get a pot, saucepan, whatever. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put both of your artichokes in the pot. Now, you could obviously make these in the oven. I do them in the pot because I'm only making a couple at a time, because it's just me. So I put them in the pot, and then you're going to pour water and your cup of wine and your lemon juice around the artichoke. So you want the water and the wine, all that. You only want it about 2 inches high. So you're only going up about 1/3 of the sides of the artichoke. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drizzle a little more olive oil on the top of the artichoke. And this is so it doesn't dry up. All you're going to do is cook it and cover it and cook it on low for about 45 minutes. And that's it. You want the artichokes to be soft. You don't want them to be undercooked, because they'll be dry, and then obviously it'll be hard to scrape. And that's how you make them. That's how I make them. So easy in terms of the actual prep, like the dumping all the stuff in the bowl and stuffing it. The not easy part is trimming them and the sort of knowing when they're done. And when you're done, when they're done is if you could pick off a leaf sort of, and you see it's soft. And obviously how you eat them, you scrape your teeth. But that's how I make them. Italian people, they put that, Christmas. If you're Italian, I apologize because I know you know this. But Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, any holiday, basically, people make stuffed artichokes. And sometimes I make them just because I'm in the mood. And they're delicious. Artichokes are expensive, though, and they are a pain in the ass to clean. So that's that. Product of the week, as we were talking about anal bleaching. So, sometimes I think you really could just find good lingerie on Amazon, even though Amazon's like, whatever, no one ever thinks to go to buy lingerie on Amazon. But there's this one brand, it's called Adome, Adome. Look it up, Adome. It's on Amazon. There is this really filthy thing that they sell, and I love it. It's a lingerie piece. This is what it's called. Adome Garter Lingerie for Women, Lace Bralette and Panty, Sexy Strappy 3-piece Bodysuit. That's what it's called. I know, a mouthful. It's $16.99. Let me tell you, this thing is hot. It's very hot. It would be $100 in Victoria's Secret. And it's not for the faint heart. It's like this little tiny black lace, a non-underwire triangle bra. It has a halter, which is just a bra strap sort of halter, bra strap around the back. The bottoms, though, are this tiny little thong, and the straps of the thong are also 2 black straps. I got black. And then there's a garter, but you just step into the garter. So it's like a loop. You just like put your leg into the loop each side. You don't have to wear stockings with it. Everything is adjustable on this set, so I love it. Like, whether you're big or small, you're not going to look like a sausage link is what I'm saying. It's good. It's hot. You can't beat it for $16.99. And besides, Amazon's so good at returns. Like, why don't you just buy it? I am telling you that if you get this thing, you might be asked to do anal bleaching. But, yeah, I mean, like, why not? Like, just have a little fun, right? I love it. Anyway. Okay. Question from the audience. Hey, Elyse, what's your favorite diner in Manhattan? Oh, my God. You know why I love this question? Let me tell you why I love this question. I love this question because, when you go on vacation, if you're not from here, when you go on vacation or you go into a new city and you say to your friends, like, or whoever, oh, can you give me some restaurant recommendations? And people give you restaurant recommendations. And it's almost like they pick the fanciest, most prestigious, ridiculous restaurant that, they've been there, but and they like, oh, this restaurant's so fabulous. Meanwhile, you go and it's like the entrees are $60 and whatever. When I ask for recommendations, I just want a regular old recommendation. And I say, I don't care if it's fancy or what, just give me where the good food's at. So these are my favorite diners. I love Veselka. Veselka is a diner in the East Village. They make the best pierogies in the world. They're a Ukrainian diner. Look them up. Another diner, it's called Little Poland. This is not a well-known diner at all in New York, but the food is so good, and it's also insanely cheap, like crazy cheap. It's a tiny little diner. There's only like 10 tables on the inside. Little Poland. It's also downtown. Gracie Mews, Mews. That's one of my favorite diners. It's on the Upper East Side. It's on First Avenue. In the 80s. I just love it. It's a big old diner. They have everything. Whatever. Everything is good. They serve if you want a soda, they serve it out of a can. Don't ask. I like it out of a can. It tastes crisper to me. Everything's good. The fries are good. They get the curly fries, those spicy ones. I don't think they do waffle fries, but everything is just delicious. The other diner I like is called Square Diner. Square. That's in Tribeca. It's on Leonard Street. This is a cool diner. It's in Tribeca, so it's a cool location. If you're down there shopping, you're down there just checking it out, like coming across this diner, it's like very old school. First of all, it's this weird square rectangle shape on the outside, but when you walk in, it's like really retro and old school. Food's delicious. Prices are right. Those are my recommendations. Veselka, Little Poland, Gracie Mews, Square Diner. Here's the thing. I love diners. It's the smorgasbord of restaurants. You can get whatever you want. And the prices are right. And even if you want to just go and have disco fries, which are my favorite, a plate of French fries with brown gravy and mozzarella, like I need that, like a hole in the head, but that's what I like. Even if you want to get a muffin, like you, and then the person that you're with wants surf and turf. I just love the diner. I just love it. Those are my recos. Quote of the day by Rob Siltanen. He is a big exec, a creative guy. He's at an agency. He worked on a lot of the Procter and P&G campaigns, a lot of the Procter and Gamble campaigns. He's super smart. Rob Siltanen. Here's his quote. People who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones that do. You probably heard that quote before, right? I've heard it. I don't know whoever said it, but I love it. So that's all for the Elyse DeLucci Show today. Thank you for listening. And make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I keep wanting to say iTunes. I don't even know if it's iTunes. Does that even exist anymore? I don't even know. But if you subscribe to the podcast, you never miss an episode. And obviously, as I do every week, beg for reviews. If you can review it on Apple Podcasts, I would totally appreciate it. The reviews help the podcast grow, but it not only helps it grow, it helps my chances of turning this into a real produced show where I'm not doing all this stuff on my own. And also, I will be able to pitch this to networks as a talk show, which I think would be fun. Imagine this show, but on the TV, on camera, but we're just sitting around the table. Well, you're in your living room, or maybe you could be in the audience, whatever. And we're just talking, we're just shooting the breeze. Like, what talk shows do you watch that just talk about normal stuff, like shopping at Walmart or anal bleaching? I don't know, none. Anyway, so that's it. Follow me on TikTok at Elyse DeLucci, Instagram at Elyse DeLucci, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.